Okay, so today we're going to do the second section, which is over operations, meaning addition, subtraction, multiplication. We don't do division, that's a whole different chapter. And basically, it's things that you should already feel pretty comfortable with. We just do it with a whole bunch of more terms. So this first slide is going to be just adding and subtracting polynomial functions. So you're just going to be combining like terms. The only place I see an error really happening is if you have a minus sign and not a plus sign in the middle. So the parentheses are there. A lot of you will see the parentheses and automatically think multiply, but be aware of the sign that is in between. So here I have addition. My positive, my plus sign, positive, doesn't affect anything that comes after. When you multiply by a positive, you're always going to have whatever sign you started with. So here I can pretty much drop my parentheses. I have 6x cubed plus 4x plus x squared minus 7, and then I'm adding all of this. I'm adding 2x cubed, I'm adding negative 8x squared, so it stays negative, and I'm adding a plus 3, so adding 3. From here, I can just combine the terms that are alike. I have 1 cubic and another cubic here. So 6x cubed and 2x cubed gets me 8x cubed. You do not increase the exponent. You're just adding the same category of x. And then I'm going to move on to my squareds. I'm going to go in descending order. So I have 1x squared minus 8x squared. So now I have negative 7x squared. And then I'm going to move on to my x term. Here I just have one of them. It is a 4x, so plus 4x. And then my leftovers, I have minus 7 and plus 3. So minus 7 plus 3 is a minus 4. I'm just going to go through my numbers again one more time to make sure that I don't have anything that's alike. And as long as I don't have anything that's alike, my problem is done. I'm just combining like terms, simplifying the expression. So here we go. I got 1 cubic, 1 square, 1/4, or 1 linear, and 1 constant 4. Doesn't want to move with me. All right. This is my life. Cool. Next problem. I have 3x squared plus 2xy, or 3x squared y squared plus 2xy squared plus 6x squared minus a whole nother term. So now my minus is going to affect things. When I go to drop these parentheses, my first one doesn't change. 3x squared y squared plus 2xy squared plus 6x squared. And then I'm subtracting everything that follows. I am subtracting 2x squared y squared. I am subtracting this one. I'm subtracting 3x y squared. And I'm subtracting a negative, so that turns positive, 2x squared. Now I'm going to combine my like terms. I need to look for things that both have in this first one, x squared and y squared. That only happens one other time. It's here. X and y are both squared. So I have 3x squared y squared minus 2x squared y squared. So that would be a 1x squared y squared. Now I'm going to move on to my next term. This has a linear x and a quadratic y. So 2xy squared. My next term is an x squared, so it's not going to combine with that one. Here is an xy squared. So I have plus 2xy squared minus 3xy squared. So that would be a minus 1xy squared. My next term is a plus 6x squared, which is great because my last term is also an x squared term. So I have plus 6x squared plus 2x squared is a plus 8x squared. Double check your terms to make sure you don't have anything that is a like, and we don't. So here is my final answer. We are going to do this one more time with our bottom equation or expression. I have addition in the middle, so I'm just going to drop my parentheses and add like terms. I have 4x to the fourth minus 6x to the third minus 3x squared plus x plus 1. And then I'm adding 5x cubed, that doesn't change. I'm adding a 7x squared, that doesn't change. I'm adding a negative 2x, and I'm adding an 8. Okay, so now we just are going to combine our like terms. I have only 1/4 degree, so that is going to stay 4x to the fourth. And then I have cubics. I have a minus 6x cubed. Keep going until you find another one, plus 5x cubed, and that's it. So -6 and +5 gets me a minus 1x cubed. Then I'm going to look at my squared terms. I have a minus 3x squared, and then here's another squared plus 7x squared. So minus 3x squared plus 7x squared gets me a plus 4x squared. My x's, I have a plus x and a minus 2x, so that's a minus 1x. And then last, I have a plus 1 and a plus 8, that would be plus 9. We're just combining like terms. Okay, next, we're going to multiply like terms. Add, subtract, multiply, that's all we're doing. So this is just distributive property. We do a bunch because of the way that the process goes once you get into more terms. So this first one, I'm just going to multiply this 5x by everything that's in my parentheses. So 5x times 2x squared, I'm going to multiply the 5 and the 2 and get 10. I have x to the first and x squared, that gets me 3 x's, x to the third. Do it again, 5x times 7x, 5 times 7 is 35, x times x, I now have 2 of them, x squared. And my last one, 5x times -8 is a -40, and there's only one x. No terms are alike, nothing can be combined. The next one is a little bit more involved with the distributive property. It's this FOIL. I have 3x squared times a -x squared, so I have 3x and 2 more x's. That gets me a -3x cubed. Then I have 3x squared times 9, or 3x times 9, so that is a 27x. And then I have 1 times -x squared, which is just -x squared. And I have 1 times 9, which is 9. I'm just going to rewrite this in standard descending order. So I'm going to have my cubic come first, and then my squared, and then my linear, and then my constant. If you didn't change it, I probably wouldn't necessarily take off, but it isn't as correct as it could be. Next, I've got a 2-termed binomial multiplied by a 3-termed. Same exact process. First times first. 3x times x gets me a 3x cubed. 3x times -5x. 3 times -5 is -15. X times x is x squared. 3x times 11 is 33x. Do the same thing with the next term in the parentheses. 1 times x squared is x squared. 1 times -5x is -5x. And 1 times 11 is 11. Now I'm just going to combine my like terms. I only have one cubic. It is a 3x cubed. I have a -15x squared and a positive 1x squared, so it's a minus 14x squared. And now I'm going to combine my linears. I have 33x minus 5x, that's a plus 28x, and then the plus 11. We got 2 more. I've got 3 terms here being, or 3 expressions here being multiplied. Multiplication does 2 at a time. So pick 2, multiply them together. I'm going to put my last 2 together, I like to keep my smaller term out front. So I have x plus 2, and that's 100% preference. You can do what you like. I'm going to multiply x times x, get x squared. X times 5, get 5x. -3 times x, -3x. And -3 times 5, -15. Before I distribute again, I'm going to combine like terms. That is also preference. You can distribute right from here. I like to have as few terms as possible. That allows me to make less mistakes. So 5x minus 3x gets me a 2x minus 15. And distribute one more time. X times x squared gets me an x to the third. X times 2x gets me a 2x squared. X times -15 is a -15x. Move on to the next term. 2 times x squared is a 2x squared. 2 times 2x is 4x, and 2 times negative 15 is negative 30. Now I'm just going to combine my like terms. I have an x cubed, just 1. I have 2x squared plus 2x squared, and I have 4x squared. I have a minus 15x and a plus 4x is a negative 11x. And then my floating minus 30 doesn't have anything to combine with. We got one more, and this one has 2 different letters in it, but that is completely fine. Just treat them like normal. I have xy times 8x. So my 8 is going to stay 8. I have x times x, that becomes x squared, and then I just have y. Go to your next term. 7, or xy times 7y. 7 is going to say 7. X is going to say x. And then I have y times y, it's going to be y squared. And your last term, xy times negative 3 is just negative 3xy. I'm going to move on to my 4. 4 times 8x is 32x. 4 times 7y is 28y. And 4 times negative 3 is negative 12. Look at your terms, make sure you don't have anything in common. We don't. This first term is an x squared y. The second one is an xy squared. They don't match. They cannot be combined. This is my final answer. Last one. Here I give you 4 functions. F of x, h of x, g of x, and j of x. These are just names. I have named this function f. X is the letter on the inside. That's all that means. If it was f of q, q would be the letter on the inside. If it was f of smiley face would be the variable on the inside. They are just the names of your function. So I give you 4 functions, and then I ask you to do these things to them. That's all it is. So this first one just wants me to put f and g together. I am adding. So f of x is 6x plus 7. G of x is 5x squared, and I just want to add them. This of x just means x is the variable. We could replace it with a number, you could replace it with a different letter, you can replace it with whatever. It just lets you know what is in your equation. It is not multiplied by x. Now I'm just going to rewrite this in descending order. I don't have any like terms, so I'm just going to put it in standard form. 5x squared plus 6x plus 7. Now I'm going to do the same thing with g minus h. So I'm going to take my g function and I'm going to take my h function and I'm going to subtract them. Again, subtraction is the place where if you're going to make a mistake, it's going to happen there. So my g function is 5x squared. My h function is 2x squared plus x minus 3. This has more than one term. I'm going to put parentheses around it, and I'm going to subtract. So this subtraction affects everything that comes after. I have 5x squared. I'm subtracting this whole thing. So minus 2x squared. I'm subtracting an x, and I'm subtracting a negative 3. So that turns into a plus 3. Now I'm just going to combine my like terms. I have 5x squared minus 2x squared. That gets me 3x squared minus x plus 3. That's all that is alike there. Now I'm going to do f times j. I'm going to make this bigger in a second. F is 6x plus 7. J is x minus 4, and I'm doing multiplication. So essentially, we're just going to FOIL right here. I have 6x times x would be a 6x squared. 6x times negative 4 is negative 24x. 7 times x is 7x, and 7 times negative 4 is a negative 28. And we're just going to combine our like terms. So I have 6x squared. Negative 24 and positive 7 gets me a negative 17x. And then my minus 28. And my last one, I'm going to make my screen big again so I can see everything. I'm doing f plus g. I'm doing that first. That's in parentheses. And then I'm going to multiply by j. So f is 6x plus 7. And I'm adding it to g. Oh, we already did this. That's okay. Adding it to g, that's 5x squared. And all of that I'm going to do first. And then I'm going to multiply by j, which is x minus 4. So essentially, I just have a multiplication problem. I just so happen to pick one that has nothing that combines. So great. If anything, you would combine first. I'm going to rearrange my letters again in descending order. So I have 5x squared plus 6x plus 7 times x minus 4. That'll just make me feel better about what my order comes out like when I'm multiplying. So I have 5x squared times x would be a 5x cubed. 5x squared times negative 4 is a negative 20x squared. 6x times x is a plus 6x squared. And 6x times 4 is a negative 24x. Move on to the last number, 7. 7 times x is 7x, and 7 times negative 4 is negative 28. Now I'm just going to combine the numbers that are alike. I have an x cubed, only one of them, it stays 5x cubed. My squared, negative 20x squared plus 6x squared is a negative 14x squared. My linear, minus 24x plus 7x is negative 17x. And then I have a minus 28, all by itself. And that's it. And we're done.